Okay, take a look up on the board here, and I've asked you to find the measures of angle 2, angle 3, and angle 4. And what I've done is I've given you the fact that angle 1 is 45 degrees. Now we can use some of the properties that we've talked about when parallel lines are cut by a transversal, and we can actually find the other 7 angle measures, but I'm only asking you to find 2, 3, and 4. And you'd find that once you found that 2, 3, and 4, is you essentially know 5, 6, 7, and 8 too, by using some of your properties as far as corresponding angles, alternate interiors, alternate exteriors, and so forth. But let's start with angle, let's find the measure of angle 2. Since we know that the angle 1 is 45 degrees, and we can say that 1 and 2 together make line A. And we know that there's 180 degrees in a line, so that angles 1 and 2 must be supplementary angles. There are 2 angles that have a sum of 180 degrees. And since angle 1 is 45 degrees, if we take 180 degrees, subtract the 45 degrees, that must mean that angle 2 is 135 degrees. And because angle 1 and 4 are vertical angles, and we recall that vertical angles are also congruent, have the same measure. If angle 1 is 45 degrees, angle 4 must be 45 degrees. And so now that we know that angle 4 is 45 degrees, we can work backwards and say that 3 must also be 135 degrees. We can either say that because it's vertical with angle 2, since 2 was 135 degrees, we know that 3 must be 135 degrees. We could also say that 1 and 3 are supplementary. They make the transversal, so they have to add up to that 180 degrees. So we know that angle 3 must also be 135 degrees. Now, if we extend this, now that we know that angle 3 is 135 degrees also, think about some of the vocabulary we've been practicing. Angle 3 and angle 6. What's the relationship between angle 3 and angle 6? You notice they're both inside the parallel lines. Angle 3 is on the left side of the transversal. Angle 6 is on the right side of the transversal. These are alternate interior angles. And since alternate interior angles are congruent, we can go ahead and say that angle 6 must also be 135 degrees because 3 and 6 are alternate interior angles. And since angle 4 is 45 degrees, same thing as 3 and 6, 4 and 5 are also, what kind of angles? Alternate interior angles. So angle 5 must also be 45 degrees. And then we can go with our alternate exterior angles. Notice angle 2 is 135 degrees. Angle 2 is outside of the parallel lines on the right side of the transversal. So the angle that is alternate exterior to angle 2 would be angle 7. Angle 7 and angle 2 are alternate exterior angles. So we can say that angle 7 must also be 135 degrees. And 1 and 8 are also alternate exterior angles. So we know that angle 8 is also 45 degrees. So essentially, there's an example of how if you're given one angle measure, you'd be able to find the other 7 angle measures. And that's what we're going to ask you to do on your homework tonight.